In the 1997-98 season, during the Chicago Bulls' quest for their second three-peat championship, the team was exhausted, frayed, and internally fractured. The documentary, The Last Dance, captured this period in vivid detail. But through it all, one thing remained constant: the ferocious, uncompromising standard of Michael Jordan. His teammates, his coaches, even his opponents, all spoke of it with a kind of awe. It was a fire that never dimmed. He didn't just want to win, he had to. This was not a desire. It was a non-negotiable condition of his reality. Welcome back to Founders in the Fire. We have talked about the initial vision, the lonely struggle, and the management of our own psychology. But what happens when the initial motivation wanes? What happens when the struggle is no longer a dramatic crisis, but a long, monotonous grind? Where does the fuel come from then? Today, we are talking about the architecture of internal drive. We are talking about building a standard for yourself that is so high, so personal, and so relentless that it becomes your primary source of energy. We are talking about the Jordan standard. The average performer is externally motivated. They work hard to get the promotion, to win the award, to earn the praise of their boss. Their effort is conditional on an external reward. But the legendary performer, the champion, is internally motivated. Their drive comes from a different place. Michael Jordan's famous line was that he played every game as if it were his last. But more importantly, he practiced as if someone was always trying to take his spot. Even at the height of his fame, when he was universally acknowledged as the greatest player in the world, he trained with the desperate hunger of a rookie trying to make the team. His competition was not the player in front of him. His competition was an idealized, perfect version of Michael Jordan that lived in his own mind. And he could never, ever satisfy that competitor. This is the secret to sustained excellence. It is the creation of an internal benchmark that is always just out of reach. It is a shift from seeking approval to seeking mastery. This requires a profound re-architecting of your ego. The fragile ego needs constant external validation to feel good about itself. The strong, resilient ego, the champion's ego, finds its satisfaction in the process of striving itself. It falls in love with the grind, because the grind is the path to getting closer to its own internal standard. This is not about self-flagellation. It is about a deep, abiding respect for your own potential. It is to say to yourself, I was given a gift, and it is my sacred duty to see how far I can take it. To do any less is a betrayal of that gift. Steve Jobs had a similar internal architecture. His obsession with detail, with the curve of a corner, with the color of a screw inside the machine that no one would ever see, was legendary. This was not driven by market research. It was driven by his own internal standard of what constituted a beautiful, perfect product. He was building for an audience of one, himself, and his standards were higher and more demanding than any customers could ever be. So how is this internal engine built? First, it requires a conscious decision about who you want to be. Not what you want to have, but who you want to be. Do you want to be a person who gives their best effort only when someone is watching? Or do you want to be a person of uncompromising excellence, even in the dark? You must define your own code, your own standard. Second, it is built through habit and ritual. You don't rely on feeling motivated. You rely on your discipline. You show up, especially on the days you don't feel like it. The act of showing up, of doing the work regardless of your mood, sends a powerful message to your own psyche. It says, "My commitment is stronger than my comfort." Each time you do this, you are casting a vote for your new identity. You are laying another brick in the architecture of your internal drive. Third, you must learn to find joy in incremental improvement. The gains will become smaller and smaller. The work will become harder for less visible reward. The champion learns to love this. They get a deep, quiet satisfaction from shaving a millisecond off their time, from finding a slightly more elegant way to write a line of code, from making a sales call that is 1% better than the last one. They are addicted to the feeling of getting better, for its own sake. This is the fire that will sustain you through the long, lonely, and often unrewarding middle part of the journey. When the initial excitement is gone, and the final victory is still a distant dream, all you have is the work of the day. And your internal standard is what gives that work meaning and dignity. In our final episode, we will bring all these pieces together. We will look at the founder who has survived the fire, who has integrated their vision, their psychology, and their drive. We will explore what it means to be a forged leader, and how the entire journey of building a company is ultimately a journey of building a self. For now, the practice is a simple question you must ask yourself every morning. What is my standard for today? Not the standard your boss sets for you. Not the standard your customers expect from you. Your standard. And are you willing to honor it even if no one else is watching?